We're here at Ashton Court for walking the steps with Christy, and today we're on step 3, and this is all about really learning from Christy the wisdom that he's lived for many years around the steps, which is so good for all of us. And today is step 3. Do you want to tell us what step 3 is, Christy?
Yeah, step 3 in a nutshell is to hand your will and your life over to a caring God of your understanding. And in Celebrate Recovery, our higher power is obviously Jesus Christ. I was easy with step 3. Funny enough, step 3 was the easiest out of the whole 12 for me, because I didn't feel I had much life left to hand over to the Lord. So the life I did have left over, I was grateful to hand over, if that makes sense, because I was physically, spiritually and mentally done, if that makes sense. When I was in rehab 15 years ago, I was done to the core. So when the suggestion came along to hand my will over, and I heard other people how they got on with their lives handing it over to Christ, I did that. So step 3 for me was a quite easy one, you know. And
but it's the one I think that sounds, or they all sound a challenge before you do them, right?
Yeah.
And I think that that whole thing of, because I haven't had a big obvious addiction which has kind of brought me to my knees, but I've been really aware of my brokenness and different things that I were just screwing my life up continually over time. And that was, and so I really relate to this, and I love this. And for me, the journey of surrendering my life to Jesus was a scary one, particularly at the beginning. It's like, I don't know what I'm doing. And so that's really interesting, hearing that for you, the fact that you really kind of reached the end of yourself made it easier. Do you find for other people, do you see that it's people find it hard to take that step of trust almost?
You're right, because if they've lived a lifestyle maybe 30, 40 years their way, when step 3 comes along and you hand your will and your life over to a loving, caring God, they want to start cherry picking. They want to give this little bit over, but they don't want to give that bit over. So then you're dragging your feet on step 3. And I can only say from experience, you're better off, warts and all, is to hand your whole life over to the loving caring of Christ, and you're in good hands then. The Spirit of the Lord is upon you, and as I said on my last video, then the Lord can work with you, but it's not like a Barterton game. You say, well, I'll hand this bit over, but the other bit down there, I'll be keeping hold of that one, and that's what they call the enemy and the devil getting a foothold in your life, because you haven't fully surrendered. And I know it's scary. Everyone dips the toe in a pool before they dive in, and that's fine, but when somebody comes along in CR, Celebrate Recovery, and they mention their life when they handed their will and their life over to love and caring God, it gives you strength and hope to continue your journey. And that the steps are all in line for a purpose and a reason, and they're all biblical. Started off with a Christian Oxford group back in the 50s, so or maybe even earlier than that. We haven't got the correct date, but it was definitely around the 50s or before.
So it started, wasn't it, 12 steps by is it 2 alcoholics? Yeah,
Billy Wilson and Dr. Bob started AA back in the 1953, if I'm not wrong. I know I'll get corrected, but it's about 53. Well, their message came from a psychiatrist, a Swiss fella. He turned around and said he's worked with many alcoholics, and the only way he's seen anyone get well is when they've had a spiritual awakening, and that's when an intervention of God is taking place. So that is what happened to the early lot.
And they're all kind of filled, aren't they, with the teachings of Jesus. So, this makes me think of when Jesus said, if you want to find your life, you've got to lose it.
Well, you've already lost it once you're in a detox or an alcohol unit, or you're in a rehab. You haven't got much more less to lose.
No, that's right.
So for me, it was quite easy. I only had 1 milligram of life left to hand over, and I didn't even think he'd take that. But he took it all, and he gave me a new life, a new heart, and he gave me a new program to continue. So when you do your step 3, it's a one-time commitment to you and Jesus. It's like a covenant. It's a stamp. You've done it. But each morning you can do a step 3 to refresh every day. Remember that you're not in charge of today, and God is. That's for me anyway, right?
Yeah.
And I don't want to go back to how it was before, so it's a refresher every morning. You know, I had my will and my life over to love and care and God, and then that's it. What I would say to people on step 3, if you're gonna go for it, go for it. You know, hand your will and your life over, because I dragged my feet in the beginning, and I'm sorry I did. I wish I would have just made that commitment all of my life over, because my benefits of that has been much, much, much better, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you know,
so how you actually do it is you do it by saying a prayer basically,
yeah,
and it's a prayer,
a
simple prayer of like,
yeah, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change,
yeah,
the courage to change the things that I can, and that wisdom to know the difference.
Yeah.
The difference is you are powerless in your self-will.
Yeah.
The Lord knows that, and God's will is mightier than you could ever be,
yeah,
if that makes sense. And over the years, I've struggled with people trying to work everything out. Well, the Lord didn't give you that brain to work everything out. You know, we're like children to Him. So once you've handed it over, your life will start changing. And it's a spiritual direction, don't forget. It's not a head thing. It's not who knows the best scriptures and who knows the best Bibles and blah, 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 blah. The Lord will direct you in spirit. You know, and lean not on your own understanding. The Bible tells me all this. You know, I read the Bible, and it says you're a new creation in God's eyes after you've done it, and that's 2 Corinthians as well.
Yeah.
So you are a new creation, you know. So I'd urge people on the step 3, you know, to be willing at least to hand it over to a power greater than you. Because as a man said to me in rehab when I was in there, he said, Christy, your best thinking brought you in here on your knees. Yeah. He said, so it's time to rethink.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, you're right. He said, and I know a man who's got all the answers, which was a power greater than me, which was Jesus.
Yeah.
But a lot of the AA rooms as well, they don't like bringing in the God and the Jesus because it's a spiritual, it's a spiritual program, which the Holy Spirit is a spirit. But
yeah,
you know, it's what you believe in. But eventually, I gave my life to Christ, and Celebrate Recovery is Christ-centered. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Love it. That's great.
Yeah.
I feel like I want to pray now. Surrender my life over now.
Okay.
Should we start the day together, Christy? It's,
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
8 o'clock in the morning here.
Yeah.
Sun is up, been up a little while.
Yeah.
Nice warm day. So should we say that serenity prayer? Is that the way to do it?
Yeah.
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 Let's do it. You lead me.
Yeah. God,
God,
grant me the serenity
grant me the serenity
to accept the things I cannot change,
to accept the things I cannot change,
the courage to change the things that I can,
the courage to change the things that I can,
and the wisdom to know the difference.
and the wisdom to know the difference.
Yeah. Amen.
Amen.
Yeah.
Great.
That's right.
Thanks, Christy.
Yeah. That's it.
Love it.
And next time, step 4.
What's step 4?
At an inventory.
Huh.
So you buy a few skips outside your house, like Hope Church is a skip at the moment, and you clear out all your hurts and hang-ups and habits, you put them on paper. It's called the personal inventory of oneself. I'll explain more on step 4.
Fantastic. Thanks, Christy.